And we are back in business here. It is 3:45, and we are going to reconvene our public session. And I will make a motion to seal the minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Paperwork. Okay. All right. Thank you all for your patience on that. Next is we're starting on number 6 now for the agenda. Whoever got to be lucky and read the Conway Daily Sun last week, we were on the front page again. It was such a popular place. The Conway Daily Sun put something about our tax rate increasing substantially, and unfortunately, they misquoted and put a picture of our new fire station on there, which has nothing to do with the tax rate yet. So the front page article is somewhat deceiving when it came to their explanation of the municipal town tax rate and the new fire station. I don't know where the reporter got his information. I didn't contact him at all because I wanted to explain it in a public meeting, but we all have had documentation available to us which states how much the different components of the tax rate went up. If anyone wants that, it's available on our website. And I think there's some paper copies at the town clerk's office as well that talks about the different components of the tax rate and the percentage of increase. I'll also put the reminder out that 2 years ago, or last year I guess it was, the revaluations of properties were done, so you compare property values from one year to the next, as well as the tax rates. So if anyone has questions, the total tax rate went up 87%, but 70% of that was the school district, and the town rate went up 12.5%. State and county went up 1.9 and 2.7% respectively. And then if you are in the water district, it went up 7.7%. I feel you. I feel everyone's pocketbook. I live here too. We're doing everything we can in the coming months to reduce our budget so we can hopefully get those, at least keep the tax rates low. And I do also want to say that our town tax rates are still some of the lowest rates that we've had in the past 10 years. So we're trying to hold on to that. It hurts a lot. The next, any questions on tax rates that I haven't answered? Any comments on that?
I have not. No.
Okay. Next thing is road hazards. We've been dealing with some really funky weather in Jackson the last few weeks, and it's sort of almost mirrored what we had a couple years ago in December with that really hazardous rainfall. So one specific area that we've had trouble with is at 373 Black Mountain Highway, which is a state road. So I'm going to ask Jim Langdon, our road agent, and Chief Perley to make a few comments, because I want to make sure that the protocol is followed very closely, being that this is a state road that for sometimes the Jackson Highway Department maintains, but is also abutting a private area that has had some issues with drainage too. So Jim, what is your interpretation and the steps that you follow when it comes to maintaining that road from the town of Jackson standpoint?
So from the town's point, we have winter operations. The state owns the road. We have an agreement with the state that we maintain it in the wintertime, basically salt, sand, plow, basic operations. We don't do much other than that. We oversee all the roads in the town of Jackson. We will only maintain those sections of road during a winter event, and unless called upon. The agreement I have with the state, and Brian Scrivener, the local foreman from the local shed, and he and I talked, Any complaints that come in that certain section of road due to the drainage issues that we are aware of, have been, will be forwarded to Black Mountain Ski Area through myself or Brian. The protocol should be if a complaint comes in, you file it with either Carroll County Sheriff, preferably with District 1 DOT office in Lancaster, and they will funnel it down to the proper people to make the contacts track the road. That's all I'm saying, if it's an issue. Unless it's during a winter event, then we're active, then we just maintain it.
Okay. And then Chief Pearlie, from your standpoint, if you get a personal complaint or a personal experience of that, what is your protocol?
That is exactly our protocol, and we had one Saturday. A citizen complained Saturday at about 2:11. It was a walk-in in the lobby and complained about ice buildup and hazardous road conditions at Black Mountain Ski Area on Black Mountain Road. They described it as water is running off the mountain near the maintenance shed and freezing on the roadway. So I took that person's information and opened a call for service. And then I was here at the station, and so I went up there. Now, I had seen this flow, of water and ice in my patrol, but this was a citizen complaint, which we're obligated to answer, of course. So I went up there and I put eyes on, and it's a big, lumpy, icy mess on a curve and a grade. So I called dispatch, and I confirmed that the condition existed. And as the call for service reads and says, I asked dispatch to notify District 1 in Lancaster for road treatment. Now, I understand ultimately Red was called about this, and what I'm surmising is that they called District 1, and District 1 is aware of this winter relationship. And then District 1 must have instructed dispatch to call the Jackson Road agent, which I'm sure they have the information. Because the last transmission I had with dispatch was simply called District 1. I went on about my business, and later, probably an hour later, hour and a half later, I secured for the day. Now, since then, because apparently this is going to be a persistent problem until it's rectified, until it's somehow fixed, I talked to Brian Scribner Monday. And we came up with a protocol that's almost to the word, described by Jim, that we will, either a citizen complaint or an officer observation, because they could be out on patrol and they are obligated to look for road hazards and report them appropriately. So we will forward all our complaints, either citizen or self-discovered, through dispatch to District 1. And Brian has said that they will receive the information. The District 1 will probably send Brian some information or call him. And then Brian's going to notify Red or Black Mountain or both, depending on what has to be done. But he made it very clear that because this is water runoff from private property, it is not a road maintenance issue. It's a personal rectification of the business from the private property. So, that's a great protocol, and my guys have all been apprised of it in writing. So, I don't know why dispatch called Red. I surmise. I have always assumed from day one that it's a state road, it's a state responsibility. So,
Okay.
That's the nature of that call.
Okay, and then Eric, you're here, I know that you've been a part of these meetings as well. Does that sound logistically correct as far as what you understand as well?
Yeah, we've obviously met with the Department of Transportation and District 1 and those guys in pretty close contact with them. They're great to work with. I don't believe it to be a permanent problem. I think it really stems from, early season, incredible rain that happened and those things. So I don't think it's a permanent problem. It's certainly a difficult situation there. The state had replaced a culvert under the road in that area and a new catch basin because that had deteriorated. So they completed that project over the summer. There's at least one more that needs to be completed by the state in the spring in order to get the water lower than that. But I think we had a very large rain event and sort of continually melted off from the amount of snow. And there's sand over it as well right now.
Mhm.
If we go, 20, sort of a gray area between the, obviously the town being responsible during storm activities. And then, so if there's no snow and there's no storm and it is purely a runoff thing, but, I would consider the rain a storm. And so obviously we had significant runoff and those things happened and the town came up, put some sand down, did the whole thing. Certainly, we will put some sand down if we're there and climbing the parking lot or doing something, we'll do our best to take care of it.
And
But I think the permanent solution, one, is the District 1 finishing their culverts and completing that multi-year project. And then the second piece is if we have irregular operations, there's no storm, there's a large rain event, then we can take care of it. But it's some ice melt and some sand.
And just to wrap up everything here, I think communication is the key word here, and making sure the documentation is done so everybody knows who's been involved and who's responsible. So I appreciate all the input from you guys and working together. Comments or questions, guys?
Yeah, well, I would just want to recognize, I really appreciate having a written protocol to reference. I think it's great, and I liked it when I got it, and it fits with the issue for sure in my mind. And then I think you know the answer, Jimmy. Is where does the state road end after that curve, and where is it no longer a state road?
Mountain View Drive.
Oh, really? The turnaround right there.
It actually goes all the way to Wood, I don't remember the exact location, but it's right around Mountain View Drive.
Okay.
So they own quite a bit of road.
Yeah, no doubt. Okay. I wasn't sure if it was at the gate or where it was.
Their road actually ends at Mountain View.
Thank you.
On the,
Eric?
Yeah, one thing to just add, on that written record, we're definitely gonna keep that log so that, if there is a complaint, we'll get a copy of that complaint, we will document it, again, hopefully, right from the complaint piece or whatever Chief Purley writes up, if it's a citizen complaint, then we'll take that, we'll have an incident report internally at Black Mountain, who made the complaint on the citizen side, where it came from, what time it was, is it rectified during storm operations by the town, or is it outside of storm operations, and is it rectified by Black Mountain? So every complaint and or observation from the police station will be documented, filed, just like you said, Bob, so we're looking forward to that.
All right, thanks everyone. Our next agenda item is the Dana Place Association letter and with Dana Place Road, and I see that Alan Wilson and George Noon are on the Zoom call at this point. So we had been, this had been addressed in previous meetings for quite a while now, that Dana Place Road and the condos that are on in that subdivision, there was a road issue that has not been remedied, and it's been a long time, and the road is unsafe. Actually, the driveway area, I'll call it, is unsafe getting in and out of the subdivision. And just as an aside, there is a Dana Place Association, which is an HOA, but there are a couple of branch HOAs along with that. So there are a couple of different interested parties in this, but I'm going to read a letter into the minutes, or into the meeting here. On October 10th, 2025, the Select Board received a summary of events that have occurred over the past 3 to 4 years as it relates to culvert failure and inadequate access from New Hampshire Route 16 to the Dana Place subdivision. It is evident that the Dana Place subdivision is not in compliance with the approved subdivision plan. Specifically, the primary entrance on the north is no longer operational. We knew that the association was working to restore the entrance and realized it could take time, but we now understand that the project has stopped. Regardless of the reason, this needs to be resolved immediately in order to be compliant. Without the northern entrance, there is no proper access for emergency vehicles and the entrance and exit to the property are unsafe. The Select Board requests that a formal plan be submitted to the Jackson Planning Board no later than March 31st, 2026. The plan shall restore the northern entrance in accordance with the approved subdivision plan, or a new plan meeting the same intent shall be submitted for the Planning Board's approval. The Select Board understands that there is an abutter who has shared easements to the property, so this party's attorney, Jason Dennis, will also be copied on this communication. If you have any questions or concerns, please contact the Select Board at 603-333-4223, extension 101, and ask to be put on an agenda for a future meeting. And this has been signed by the Select Board. George, did you have any comments you wanted to make about this communication? You're on mute, sir. I'm going to ask.
You need to unmute your.
Okay, I believe.
Yeah, I did that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Just give you some background. I mean, the Dana Place Association shell to kind of like we actually do some, we provide some services basically for the condominium associations that are underneath us. On the Dana Place Road, there are actually 3 condominium associations that are in there. There's Mount Washington Condominium Association, Mount Madison Condominium Association, and the Mount Jefferson Condominium Association. So those 3 basically associations are on the road. And essentially what we've, what you have all the information on is basically the northern entrance that actually we share with basically the Dana Place Inn. That culvert that was there failed. And I think you have all the information that was provided to you about what was going on in the past.
Mm-hmm.
So we've tried and put a lot of effort. Angelo Simeone has provided a lot of information. We've actually tried to do something that, proactively to kind of like fix the situation. We actually spent many months with Angelo and Alan actually contributing to this to look at what the ramifications are to actually do this. We actually come up with a plan to put a bridge in place to actually solve the problem. We actually work with the members of our individual condominium associations to raise money to support that. And we did put that all into place. The sticking point that we have, and actually the issue that we have really, is that there's an easement that allows us to actually continue on and do this. But essentially part of that, the culvert property is owned by Levine's properties in the Dana Place Inn. So we needed to get his approval to move forward with the building of the bridge. And at this point in time, we're stuck because he's refused to actually give us that approval. So we're basically stuck. We're at a roadblock right now that we can't get past.
And it's rumored that property is for sale?
We've heard the rumor, but we don't know any. We don't have any definite, one way or the other, what is actually happening. We just had the rumors that that's the property is for sale. But that's all we know at this point in time.
Okay.
Well, excuse me, George. I think this is Alan Wilson. I'm currently the Secretary-Treasurer of Mount Washington Condominium Association. Angelo Simeone, who is the president of Mount Washington, is trying to join this Zoom, but he's having technical difficulties. He's stuck at the first page, saying the host has joined, but he can't get in. It's more than a rumor that the property has been sold. According to our counsel at Warren, Reno, and Concord, Mr. Levine's counsel, Jason Dennis, told our counsel that the property was under agreement and was going to close in 90 days. That was in early October.
Okay. I'm not sure how any of that affects the letter that we read. I understand that it's frustrating for you folks and that you're stuck against something, but this is going to you, and it's also going to Mr. Levine's attorney, Jason Dennis. So something needs to happen here to rectify this, because it is unsafe. It's just amazing that no one has been hurt yet there, and I pray that no one does get hurt, but there's no way for emergency vehicles to get access. So we will be issuing this letter to the Dana Place Association, and I'm thinking that by association, this will go to the other affiliate organizations, or does this need to be readdressed to all 3 condo associations?
We would actually provide that information to all 3 condominium associations. That could be done. That's not an issue. And
Okay,
I think you're absolutely right. You know, we've looked at the situation. We know the dangers because the southern entrance was never, put in place, for a safe entrance. It was there for other purposes. And basically that northern entrance is the safest entrance and exit for our property. And we know the risks. We've had a number of potential possible accidents that could have occurred. It's very dangerous, and that's why we were trying to push forward, have this rectified as quickly as possible. But again, we thought we had everything in place. We did all the work to actually get assign what to do, the necessary elements from environmental and permitting and everything else for the construction of the bridge. But not having this approval for the easement from Levine's properties, again, we are now, our hands are basically tied until we get that approval. We can't move forward with that, and unfortunately, we've had all the members of our individual condominium associations. We actually solicited them to get the revenue to kind of like support building this bridge, and right now we're stuck because that money is returned to them because we're now at a dead end at this point.
right. All
We
right.
had actually
Hang
raised
on a second.
15,
Hold on.
we had
Alan.
raised $15,500 from each of the 16 owners.
Okay, Alan, I'm
Oh,
gonna
yeah,
ask you to
almost-
hold on, I'm gonna hear what Burr Phillips has to say before you go on. Burr?
Yeah, I had a comment and a question. One, I can totally attest that they've really worked hard to do this. They've raised the money, looked at a ton of options, so I can attest that part of it. And they're stuck at the easement is really the big issue for them. My question for them is, my understanding is that Dana Place, with the Levine owns, is part of this subdivision, and I guess I'm not sure of that. I'm wondering if they may know that if Dana Place when this was originally subdivided, was Dana Place part of this? And the reason I ask that is because our justification for requiring this is because that was part of the subdivision plan, was you had to have the access for it. And so if Dana Place was part of this subdivision, then should we be also issuing this letter to the Dana Place saying, hey, look, they've since seceded from the association, but should we be issuing this letter to Dana Place saying, hey, you're not complying with part of the subdivision,
Is that not Jason Dennis on behalf of
It is
Mr.
Jason
Levine?
Dennis.
So that will be going to him as well.
Okay.
It'll be copied on there. And
He's already received that.
he's already received
So
this
has
because,
The association.
so this is the formal reading of the
I thought
of the
maybe it would
letter.
help if Dana Place, the
Yeah.
new buyer know they're in violation of it, maybe that helps
Yeah.
persuade them to work with them on the easement.
So George, do you know that answer to the question? I'm not sure if you could hear Burr, but he's asking if the Dana Place Inn was part of the original subdivision that, part of the Dana Place Association.
I believe that is true. I think Alan can actually comment on that. It was before my time. But I think that was true, but I think Alan can actually support that. I'm really not positive on that one.
Alan?
I'm sorry, but I don't know the answer.
Okay. And I'm sure that can be found from some other records, and maybe Mr. Dennis knows that from the records as well. Frank,
Right, I
did
think
you
it
have
was,
a question?
I think it was Alan, did you mention that there's a sale that's imminent? This is going to be happening pretty soon?
That was the gist of a voicemail message that Jason Dennis left with our counsel,
Okay.
Aaron Vandenborre,
So shouldn't if the sale is made, whoever's buying has to understand that something has to be done about that northern entrance? Is that moving forward in that way? Do you know?
I don't know. I don't know the status of the sale other than that voicemail message that Mr. Levine's counsel left for ours.
Okay.
I
Angela.
think Angelo has joined us.
Angela, I see that you're just joining us, and we have, we read the letter that has been sent out, and we have discussed the fact that it's also going to Jason Dennis on behalf of Mr. Levine, and that we're hoping to find out whether or not the property has been sold and whether or not the new owner is aware of this situation, but I think that's in the hands of Jason Dennis. Do you know any of the history of that and happen to know if Dana Place Inn was part of the original subdivision?
It was. It's included in the original master plan.
Okay.
It's listed as property D on the original master plan.
Okay, so I mean, I think that's really important when it comes to who's responsible on this, and it'll just be important to know if the new owner is realized.
I'm sorry to interrupt. It's property E on the original master plan, and I can hold it up here. I don't know if you can see it, but it's E right here. It's where my finger's pointing to. I don't know if that's visible.
Yep.
But it's on the plan that was approved, and it was approved in 1972 and recorded, and I assume it was approved by the planning board.
Okay. All right. So again, I think we're all in the same place as far as the letters going out. Something has to be done on this. It's up to the Dana Place Association as well as the subdivided condo associations and the owner of Dana Place Inn, whether that be Mr. Levine or the new owners. And again, I also would like to reiterate what Burr said. I appreciate the fact that you folks have been trying to get this done for a couple of years now. Frank, Bob, did you have any other questions or comments?
Well, I guess one thing I'm curious about as I'm listening is what if the new owner of the property won't sign off?
I think that we're going to be entering a different situation. I mean, we have a date on this until March 31st, so hopefully we don't get to that date and find that nothing's been done. But if we get to that point, then we're going to have to take this further.
And the sellers are gonna have to make it clear that this has to be done
Well,
before it's bought,
it's
so.
Well, that would be
logical.
something like what, placing a
Just
lien on
getting
the
it out there,
property?
so
Yeah.
I mean, do we have the
We
authority to
don't.
do that?
Yeah, well,
But the owner has the authority to not sign off and allow the work to be done.
I would hope that the seller and the attorney for the seller would be disclosing this since they've received the communication.
and come and see us. if you
I
want.
think that is the best, I think that is the best plan of action. I think we've done everything on our part from a legal standpoint, from looking at constructing a bridge, doing all the things that we needed to do to put this into place. And I think it's been very frustrating for us, obviously, because we know the dangers of the safety issues that we have here.
Right.
And all we really want is, and we're paying for this too. You know, all these the individual kind of associations are paying for this to kind of like make this happen, and not to have acceptance of this from Levine and actually doing this is really frustrating for us. And if we can get this, maybe if the new owner actually relents and actually gives us the okay, then we have to put this motion into play again. But this is going to take some time for us because we would have to raise the resources to actually put this, to actually do this. So, and the other problem with this is that basically, since it's been delayed for another year, obviously the expenses to do this is going to be increasing. So we have to kind of like, the faster we can get this done, the better off we'll all be. And I think that we're really concerned about this because it's some again, life or death situations that we're talking about here. This
Right.
is not trivial at all.
Right. Okay.
Madam
So,
Chair, can I make one more point
yes.
briefly? I just want to make it clear that we have said to Mr. Levine from the beginning of our conversations with him that we weren't looking for him to contribute anything. This would be no cost to him.
So that would be interesting to know if the new owners take over, is that something that would be a concession, and that's certainly up to you folks to make that decision or not.
I think there's no question that we would make the same
Okay.
proposal.
Okay. Bob?
I should probably point out that my wife and I closed on the sale of our condominium at Mount Washington last Monday. And so my tenure as Secretary Treasurer of the Condominium Association is going to end in about a week.
Oh. Well, thank you for being here today.
My pleasure.
Bob?
Well, I'm just curious. I mean, we're talking about hoping a new owner will sign off on this and be part of the solution. and I say, what if he doesn't? I guess my question needs to be more along the lines of, who has recourse? And what is the recourse if the new owner will not partner with this project? Does the town have recourse? Do the condominium associations themselves have recourse? How is this going to result in
The status of it is
All right, hold on.
that the condominium associations and Dana Place Association all have easement rights to cross that stream, and easement rights through the property that Mr. Levine has owned. The problem with it is that it's vaguely worded. It wouldn't. It's somewhat. Well, I don't want to say more than that. It's vaguely worded,
Okay.
and if it were in litigation, the outcome would not be certain.
Okay, but I think, Bob, the answer to that is we've given them a March 31st deadline to submit a formal plan. If we don't have anything by then, I think it would have to go either to the zoning or the planning board for non-compliance to their subdivision. I guess I would have to ask an attorney on that to give us a what next step.
May I speak?
Sure.
And two things. The attorney, the town council also represents Mr. Levine.
Yeah, we would go to someone else, obviously.
Okay, thank you.
No, I appreciate you noting that.
The other thing is that I wasn't available for the beginning of the meeting, but I want to make it clear to the council that the 16 Dana Place Road abutters contributed to the new bridge proposal $15,500 apiece, coming up to over $240,000. That would more than cover the bridge construction by the fall of 2025. Okay, so we have our plan, and Burr, hopefully Burr's there.
Yes,
Well, Burr,
yes.
if you are.
Yeah.
But Burr Phillips has our plans, which I would give Burr permission to share those plans with the town, because those plans have cost us quite a bit of money between the engineering and the legal part. And so I want the town to realize that we have a plan, and the plan is in Burr's hands. He can submit it to you if you want it, but that's the only plan we have. We cannot convince Mr. Levine any differently. He's just holds some sort of personal grudge against us, and that's what it is.
Okay. I appreciate that, and again, Burr was very complimentary over the efforts that you folks have made. So I think we're, unless you guys have anything else, I think we need to talk to our additional counsel on this to find out what repercussions there would be if March 31st comes along and we don't have any resolution to this. In the meantime, please keep us apprised of any news that you find out, or if you need our assistance on anything. But we'll be here to hopefully hear good news from you.
Yeah, and Barbara, please, reach out to us if there's any other questions that we could actually provide information from. But we just frustrates us. We've tried to do everything we could, within our powers to kind of move this along. But again, it's just very frustrating for us.
I can only
All of
imagine.
it, so basically all of it. There's a lot of people on the road that just are really concerned about this, and we're really, really frustrated that we couldn't pull this off.
Awesome. All right.
What planning and zoning does is tries to look at the health, safety, and welfare when approving a subdivision. At least that's common practice, and I'm assuming that was the common practice when our subdivision was approved. The safest point of access from Dana Place Road to Route 16 is through the easement.
Right.
And so I just want that to be clear that that's what planning approved. And I don't have records of what the logic was that the planning board did at that time, but I can assure you, as being a landscape architect, that we would never approve a plan, we would never develop a plan if we didn't have safe access for a community.
Right, and I'm sure there's no dispute on that, so I appreciate that. All right, we are going to move on to the next point, and again, thank you all for your participation tonight. I appreciate it.
Thanks for your help here.
Thank you. All right. We have some zoning ordinance changes that we are going to recommend the planning board take a look at.
Eastfield Road is next.
Oh, sorry, check that one off. I don't want to talk about. All right, so there's some new information, Bird, that you have provided about the Eastfield Roads site, and this has to do back with the previous meeting where there is a builder that asked for some work to be done at one of the the raw building sites up there, and I'll let you take it from there.
Yeah, we just met last week, or Greg Seymour, he's sort of the project manager. I think he's actually the architect for the project. So he called everybody together, Kevin and myself and 3 people from the association and Eric Russo, the builder. At the time, we all got together. I don't think we ever had resolution, although everybody understands what the problem is now. And the brief summary is the road was, the last 250, 300 feet of the road was not finished. And so that section is considered a driveway because it's pretty far from finished. And there's already too many units off of that section of the road, which is a driveway. So until they finish it, they really aren't, by the zoning, they're not allowed to build additional units. I ran this by the town's attorney. He agreed fully that it didn't make sense to add more units there until there's some resolution on the road. So we're basically saying, can you post a bond to cover the work, and then Eric can get going on his construction? If it is, then we're assured the road's gonna get finished. If you can't, we don't have any statutory authority to approve that plan, to approve that permit. I would say just their comment is that we previously approved some units on that, which I don't deny that happened in 2015, 2017. That shouldn't have been done, but again, Jason, the town's attorney, is the same thing, that we're not gonna make the situation worse because we made a mistake in the past, basically.
Right.
Is the issue there, so.
Sort of the
there's
same.
really
I guess-
There's really no resolution until they come back and say, we're gonna post a bond, or we're gonna give us some assurance that road's gonna be built.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that it's probably too late in the year to start doing anything now anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
but
I think we could come up and post a bond so that you could still do work. So if they can come up, post a bond for us, then Eric can start doing the house construction now, if he wants to.
Bob?
So when the conversation among the group kind of got onto the post a bond topic, was the president and the other 2 HOA members, did they give you any sense of whether that was a realistic expectation on that they would be able to do that?
No, their comment was they don't have the money right now to be able to do that. So then if they did, they'd have to go to the homeowners and get a vote to raise some money to do that. They've got a legal issue going on, so that's the other thing. Eric Russo, I assume it's whoever he's working for has offered to pay a certain amount towards the road, a pretty considerable amount, I would say, towards the road, but it's probably not enough to do it, so.
So
I think our first step, though, is we really need like some sort of as-built plan of the road, so we can figure out exactly what's required, because we don't know if it's in the right spot or at the right grade, or we know drainage is in the wrong spots, and it doesn't look like it's in the right spot totally, but, so we just need to have this as-built plan, then we can give them a more precise cost of what it will be, and then they would know how much they would need to.
got it.
So.
Nothing's imminent though on them.
No, so I assume they're working among themselves. I copied them on the minutes from the meeting, but
Okay.
that's it. And I would just note that this is actually pretty similar to Dana Place in that road was to be built as part of the subdivision approval, and if that section has not been, and it's just like Dana Place now pulling out of something that was part of their subdivision approval. So I'd say they're pretty parallel projects, we're going back and holding to what was originally approved, that's all.
Eric?
Quick question, just for clarity, you seeking for the HOA to post the bond, correct?
We don't, if somebody else wants to do it, that's fine.
Okay.
So we don't care who it's done, as long as we have a bond that's, an irrevocable bond until the road's built. to
So
the-
you don't care if it comes from the person building the lots or the HOA? Okay. Yeah, and I think, again, this is a situation with HOA is seeing in many different places that that very HOA is in active litigation around other things that were supposed to be built that haven't been built.
Right.
And so, those previous items went out for a special assessment vote to pay for them, and the HOA voted against that just last week. So I suspect we have similar issues with the same road and go through it, but I would definitely encourage the town to get the money for a bond upfront.
I would just
Yeah,
note,
okay,
I would
so,
just, really briefly, I would just note that the association still is gonna need to be agreeable to working within the road right away.
yeah, so there's more to then posting the bond, obviously, but yeah, we're not gonna do anything until a bond is posted. In order for a bond to be posted, there's a lot of work that has to be done to bring the subdivision back into compliance, the way it was originally approved. Good,
That's the way it sounds.
anything else? All right, good luck with that one too. Okay, so we have a couple of new ordinance, changes that have to be done through the zoning, through the planning board, through the zoning ordinance. The first one has to do with Keno and gambling. And so there's some language already in our zoning ordinance, but it needs to be refined. So I would like to entertain a motion that the planning board have the ordinance modified to include whatever they feel like needs to be included on Keno.
There's a new statute about, that would automatically go in, so.
Yeah,
If you don't do anything about it, it's automatically brought into effect, so we need to decide what the town wants to do as it applies to Keno. Otherwise, it will be silent and somebody can bring Keno into town. Did I get that right? I think.
yeah, Keno / Games of Chance.
It's actually games. This is Dave
Gaming?
Campbell. It's called Games of Chance.
Game.
Keno is an example that is quoted in the law, but it is, the law is actually called Games of Chance, which is what we are changing. We're having a public hearing in January to modify it.
Oh, so you're already doing that, because we were told that.
Yeah,
the
this is
select
our
board didn't make a
formal,
motion.
this is our formal motion then for the planning board to do it. So now you can
Now we can do it.
take action.
Called games of no chance.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to assign this to the planning board for Keno and gambling and games of chance.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The second one that we need to address is okay, that's that one. Hold on a second. That one is signs. There it is, okay. Our current ordinance speaks of signs and where signage can be placed and sizes of signs, but we want that to be revisited to maybe be a little more specific to things like A-frame signs and signs being posted on town property or notifications of signs being posted in certain areas. So we would like the planning board to revisit the sign ordinance. Can I have a motion for that?
I'll make that motion for the planning board to revisit the sign ordinance.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Man, we did have a conversation at the last planning board meeting about a timeline and whether there was gonna be enough time to revisit that. And so I'd like to ask David, since he's here, I mean, is there enough time? What did
No.
we?
We had voted last week to postpone that until 2026 because the town has both town roads and state roads within its boundaries. And the state dictates what signs can and cannot be posted on state roads. And we want to incorporate that language along with our own private roads, our own town So
Yeah.
it was a little bit more complicated for us to do it in one meeting. And we have to have it done by next Tuesday. So.
And that was pretty much the very beginning of that conversation determined that. So I don't want to leave this conversation with any expectation that somebody's going to see a signed ordinance proposed language change at the next town meeting.
I have a question about signs, because I know Kevin and I have discussed it. Businesses, local businesses, and they have an A-frame sign on their property. Is that allowed?
It's their property.
Okay,
On premise.
On premise.
on premise,
Yeah.
okay.
And let me go back on.
This is where the ordinance, the sign ordinance is very vague,
Right.
and it would be nice to clearly define that. Because I know, Kevin, you have told people that they can't have A-frame signs. So-
Okay, but I'm just interrupting real quickly because the 13.3.3 says off-premises directional signs for ski areas and ski touring foundation located in the town of Jackson shall be permitted. The total area of the sign exclusive of supports shall not exceed 64 feet. The height of the sign shall not exceed 12 feet above natural ground level. Is that for
That's directional signs.
directional
like
signs.
On state roads.
on state roads? And
Yeah.
then that has to be recommended by the planning board and approved by the select board. So it's not something you can just put out, it has to be approved so we know where it's going to be. I think a lot of this has to do with forward communication of making sure that they're in the right place, the right size, approved and notified. At that way the ordinance stands today. Okay. So you are given the reins on that, and I can't wait. I hope you don't leave it till November 25th next year.
No.
Perfect.
First thing on the agenda in
Perfect.
January.
Perfect. Thanks for bringing that up. Done, I know. Okay, the last one is on food trucks serving food and drink through windows, and I think that is just a clarification, and again, that will be done for the next year, correct? That's not going to be any change for this year? So-
That is correct.
Okay,
We will clearly define that. It is in the ordinance now, but again, it's up to interpretation. We want to clarify in that section where it doesn't allow food to be served for the sole purpose of eating outside of the establishment.
okay.
And I would like to share also, I mean, the whole purpose of that was to prevent our town from really being inundated with trucks, food trucks and true trailers and everything like that. But we've seen that creep forward a little bit through the years with ice cream service at the Wildcat, just like things like that. And so to find a way to denote the difference between a food truck and an establishment that has a way to serve to-go food was kind of the purpose of wanting to revisit that and feeling like it was a little bit outdated.
Great.
Did I get that right?
Okay, that's good.
Perfect. Chief Pearlie?
Yeah, just to give you a little bit of peace of mind, you do kind of have some value-added language, so to speak, in the new parking ordinance, because
Right.
it does not allow for commercial vehicles to park in the public spaces. And not that it was anticipated specifically for food trucks, but it definitely recognized that people try to exploit areas that are unregulated with commercial enterprise. So that should give you some comfort in that respect. It's not an all-encompassing like zoning, but it gives you some protection there.
Thank you. Anything else on
I
that?
just,
Yes, Drew?
I just wanted to be clear, because I feel bad for like J-Town Deli. And we've told them that they can't have that truck.
Mhm.
And can they or can't they? Like, it needs to be clear. And
I thought
Black
because,
Mountain's gonna be serving through a window on one of your new cabins. We wanna make sure that everyone's allowed to do this.
I think that if I'm right, when we read it, it had to do with available seating outside of the place to be served. And I don't know if I don't remember back when the ice cream truck at J-Town, or because it was a truck, even though it didn't move. So I don't know how that was dealt with back in the day, but Eric, correct me if I'm wrong, I think you do have seating outside of your public areas that are serving food through a window, but are you doing inside serving as well as outside serving?
Yeah, inside service and outside service, the Alpine Cabin, the Platter Shack has a window with chairs outside of it, the Boville Bar has a deck covered, so it certainly wouldn't consider it food truck or drive-through. But again, something we have looked at is having a food truck type thing put on the back of a snowcat and moving that around the mountain in special locations around holiday weeks to move people in places. So I think, Julie, that's a great question. We would love that clarity. I mean, I assume the general intention is to not have McDonald's at downtown Jackson with a
Yes.
drive-through?
I think that was the original
Yeah.
of the zoning.
Well, yeah, and then like, you could see Cheese Louise's food truck is, they're great,
Yeah.
they're great where they belong and how we want to have them, but you just don't want it to get out of hand too, so.
And Nestle has a food truck, so.
Yeah, that's true, yeah, so just, I think the clarification and
Clarification would be
consistency of
So.
dealing with things, so. All right, planning board, thank you. The next is our special events permit discussion, and we've had this on our agenda for quite a while now. Julie has given us a couple examples, and I think that if we look at these, I'm thinking that maybe at our next meeting, if we send around some examples and turn back in some, unless you already have material.
The next meeting is the public hearing for the town ordinances, so
So does,
that will be,
now, I thought this doesn't have to be an ordinance.
oh, yes, it's a town ordinance.
It doesn't have
Not
to go
on
to the planning
zoning,
board.
It doesn't have to be on the
Got you,
zoning
okay.
ordinance, is that right, David?
That's correct.
Is that right? Okay.
That's correct.
Okay, my misunderstanding on that. So if we have a couple of examples and we can come up
It
with
will
a,
have to go to town vote,
yes.
but
Oh.
it's just an ordinance that the town's gonna put together. to
So
go
we're gonna
on
put together a couple different iterations. I'm gonna do that if that's okay with the two of you,
Mhm.
and Julie can get it to you guys with some iterations that we can discuss at the public hearing. And it basically has to do with pre-planning for events. Some towns that I've looked at are really strict and some are really loosey-goosey, so it's making sure that parking, police, fire, highway, health officer, restroom facilities, noise control, ambulance, did I say that, are all, that we're all kind of aware of things. If there are tents, that they have the certificate of, or the inspection and the, not occupancy, but what's
Assembly.
affirmative assembly, thank you. These are all tests, you're all doing really well, thank you very much. But making sure that everything, all the i's are dotted and the t's are crossed. I don't think this needs to be a fee-based license, it's more of a informational and preparing for what our town
There
makes.
should be a fee, because there's administrative fees, it's in the
Okay.
statute.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, there is a cost for us to
There is a
process this
Okay.
kind of a thing. And
It's
I
like we have
think,
a cost for, a tent permit, and,
Okay,
are we, and we always had, I know I had a tent on my property that had to be inspected when it went up. And so I don't know the protocols around that, but some of these discussions should also include Kevin. And
Jay,
is there, is the sense that a special events permit is something we see going before the town in March?
yeah.
that was
And
the hope.
Or
Yeah, I mean.
So is there a timeline where we have to be at a place where we are all in agreement on what is gonna be put forward?
That would be.
What's the date certain that needs to happen? First of all, I want to recognize all the work that the planning board did, and certainly to Bill Terry to put this language together and give us some examples. It was great to
What
take
language?
the lead.
I sent that language in.
No, Julie did all this.
But Bill Terry did it as well.
Yeah.
So,
Oh,
because I asked the planning board about it because other towns have it in their zoning ordinance. And Bill Terry said, no, it does not need to be in the zoning ordinance.
So
So now,
Julie did all this
Yeah.
months
I've
ago.
done
And
a lot.
he pulled out the Conway and the Bartlett,
Yeah, I
special
sent him-
event
Yeah, I sent him all that
ordinances.
information.
Yeah.
So, this, again, are we looking at a timeline here that requires action before a certain date?
So the public hearing is January 6th.
Right,
It needs to be noticed 7 days prior.
so by next week,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
okay. That's what I was getting at.
Yep.
There needs to be a special meeting.
yeah.
But
The
we've
noise
already had
ordinance.
that on our
So,
calendar.
yeah, we've had this on the calendar for a while. We've got the noise ordinance that I was told you want to make some changes to, the special events permit, and there's a veterans credit that
Right.
needs to be modified for 2026. And we can push it out, we can put it all on the January 20th, when we have the budget hearing, the warrant articles, and we could have town ordinances. It'll be a long night, but we could do it all on that.
I'd still like to stick with the 6th. I think we've had that on our calendar. And I thought that, Chief Pearlie, were you and your team working on the noise ordinance at all?
The noise ordinance was just a couple small additions. We did start to work a little bit on the events permit as well, so.
Okay.
I can get with you with what we've come up with.
Why don't you and I set up some time to go over that, and then we can come up with our presentation for the public hearing, because I think that's where it's going to get the public public feedback on what we all want to see. And again, this is good information to have, so we have communication amongst all the departments that need to be involved, or personnel that need to be involved for special events. The noise ordinance was kind of because we didn't have anything specific to extended liquor licenses and noise. It was all built in one for the extended liquor license, so now we're tweaking the noise ordinance to make that more clear. So I will meet with you, Mike, and we'll get those, and if that's okay with you folks, we'll bring it to the public hearing on the 6th of January.
You're gonna bring one proposal that has been worked on between you and Mike to the public hearing on the 6th?
Yes,
Looking for board approval at that time.
board approval and public input. And certainly I can send any,
Yes.
Mike can meet with you folks and send any,
Information as it's
Preview.
ongoing, yes, that'd be good.
If you have any
Yeah,
suggestions.
definitely would be helpful for
Yeah.
me to see something
So it's not every day,
beforehand,
all of a sudden say, oh, this is what it
that you've, come up with.
is. Sounds good.
Yep, and I'll work, get some ideas off Kevin too.
Yeah, I still wanna look at it for the first time on the 6th.
no.
Yep.
I also don't want to overcomplicate these. Like, I don't think this
Right.
is something that, if you look at the one that Bartlett uses, they use it for like special events at Storyland and things like that. So it's not going to be anything that's going to be overbearing or whatever. I think it just sort of ties everything and puts a bow on it instead of just saying, hey, I think I'm going to have a tent,
Mhm.
Eric?
Yeah, I would just say that we've been meeting somewhat formally with other business owners in Jackson at the Mountain on a monthly basis, and I think there's a lot of concern around, or misunderstanding, active need for information around the special events permit, where that would sort of intersect and collide with historical and, pre-permitted use and those things, like Bob said, he puts a tent in his backyard and has 200 people there, that would definitely, that may get a special event. On us, we would, we have 1,000 people at the Mountain every Saturday for a lot of things in a row, and so what actually triggers a special event? What
That-
makes it different than the use?
That's going to be a huge part of the definition. What constitutes a special event? If you're a ski resort that normally has 1,000 people and every weekend is a special event, that's obviously not going to qualify for a weekly permit. I think we're talking about things over and above a normal situation like that. But again, definition and using some comparisons from other towns will help us formulate that.
So I would definitely encourage, and I don't know if it's more of an informal working session with the group of businesses, because this will affect the businesses quite dramatically. the special events, whether it's the Whitneys or the Wentworth or what have you. I would, January 6th, most people are not aware of this in the process other than what I brought up. Feels very, very quick for this, especially given the business owners, you know, high needs over the next 10 days of the town exploding with guests and out-of-towners. January 6th is gonna come very, very quick.
Right.
And so I think that whatever gets adopted will have a much greater success if it is more collaborative, specifically with the group of business owners. And I don't know if that's an informal meeting or we jam it into the meeting on the 6th. But there's definitely, this is a number one or number two topic of conversation in town among the business owners.
Okay, just two things. January 6th has definitely been on our calendar for a couple months already for our public hearing, so all the businesses are definitely welcome to come to that meeting and give us input. It will also be voted on at town meeting, so this isn't something that we will put into place without town meeting and voting on it. This is not to get in the way of the town's businesses doing their business. Please, this is not something where we're trying to change the way people are doing business. That's the last thing we need, is try to shut down our wedding venues and our ski touring, etc. So please don't panic.
Yep.
Don't think that I don't want to put this off. It's also something that we're going to put in place based on what the public input is. So please invite everyone to January 6th. It'll start at 4 o'clock, and if you want to share any input that you see when you're Googling other towns' special events ordinances, you know, feel free, but this is not something that we're putting into place to constipate businesses. So
I just think that my understanding is you as a select board are going to vote to recommend or not recommend this on the 6th. And I would say that, to me, there has not been enough discussion or input or conversation from the businesses, specifically mine, and others that we've talked to about prior to that recommendation vote. And I think showing up at 4 o'clock and having a collaborative discussion would be great, and not necessarily having to go to a select board vote that quickly. But because none of the businesses have seen a draft or a proposal or any sort of documentation from the select board or the
Well,
town.
that's what we're talking about. That's what we need to have before we post the public hearing.
right.
That's,
This is the flow of how it works anyway. So
But we're less than 2 weeks away from that meeting. We have seen nothing from the town as business owners, and something needs to be posted at least 7 days before, which would
Okay.
put the minimum posting at New Year's Eve. And my
okay,
opinion is this
you
is
know
very
what?
busy
I'm
time.
gonna stop the conversation here. This is the calendar, and this is the way it's going to happen. And I would really invite everyone to come to the meeting and voice your input into the public.
My concern is that you are log jamming this in at a very busy time of year for the businesses.
I understand your
We've
business.
seen nothing from the town.
Eric, please,
about
I
what's
have
been
heard you
recommended.
and I understand, okay? Enough. I will,
Are you refusing me to continue to speak on this matter?
yes, thank you.
I just
For
would like that on
putting that into
record.
words.
Thank you.
All right, that's that. Okay, special events permit, that's one. All right, next is our fee schedule update, and there are several items on here that we're updating. And I'm just going to read off the ones that are highlighted then, Julie, if that makes sense,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
read what we're increasing them to.
yes.
And we will, I'm gonna read this all. If you folks feel we need to vote on them separately, let me know, but I'll read them first. So our fee schedule for a building permit for residential, commercial, multifamily is a $75 minimum permit fee, and we're proposing a $100 minimum permit fee. The next is a building permit renewal, which is at $50, and there's nothing written next to that. Are you anticipating an increase to that?
I wanted to ask Kevin about that. Building permit renewal, 75, maybe 50 to 75, or?
It's been like that for 13 years.
Yeah,
So moving the building permit renewal fee from $50 to $75. Demolition permit is at $50 if the structure is 500 square feet and under, or $10 cents per square feet. And I think recommending to increase that to $100 for a demolition permit.
Kevin?
No, that's probably a good price.
50?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, raise
Uh-huh.
it, raise it. Like I said,
100.
that's been the same thing for 13 years.
Okay. And then a driveway permit is currently $60. We're considering raising that to $100 for a driveway permit.
Yeah, Jim had recommended that.
Mhm. Septic, I'm gonna take these section by section. Bob and Frank, any comments or thoughts on those? Okay. I'm gonna make a motion to approve all of the building and assessing department recommendations of building permit from a $75 minimum to a $100 permit minimum fee. Building permit renewal from $50 to $75. Demolition permit from $50 to $100. And a driveway permit from $60 to $100.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Aye. On the septic designs, the new or updated design is at 100. We're recommending $150. A revised or resubmitted plan at 55, recommending 75, and an amended or as-built plan from 55 to $75, and these are recommended by Burr Phillips.
I'll make a motion to approve those changes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And the next, no, okay, that would be it then. I think we brought some other ones to the library and they're gonna discuss those for next year. Did they have any other fees?
The old library management committee, they wanted to be here, so we'll table that till the 6th.
Okay.
They can come on January 6th.
Oh, okay, that was the
Yeah.
next one. Okay, 1 and 6. So I'll make a motion to table 6H from today to January 6th meeting.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, we have a intent to cut, and this is on Double Edge Drive for 15.1 acres, and we need to make a motion to approve this intent to cut on Double Head Drive. Tax map R16 lot 18A.
18A and B, or just 18A?
There's two, so 18A and B.
I'll
Thank
make
you.
that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you for page 2, 12, 23, 25. Sign both pages, please.
Oh, I signed 1 page, okay.
Oh, okay. Middle. I know, right? All right, the next is a report of cut for timber tax bill R17 lot 31B. And this is for an intent to cut by Arthur Couture on Green Hill Road. We are denying this because there is back taxes owed.
Sorry, you got the map a lot wrong. R13, lot 19,
Yeah, she
the intent to cut.
Tend to cut.
I heard R1731B.
Yeah, we're on J.
J. On J.
Okay.
Skip that.
Sorry about that. Got those mixed up. Okay. Okay. Letter to cut, intent to cut Arthur Couture on Green Hill Road.
That has to be denied.
Right, that's the one we're denying. Okay, so this is
Which one is that?
R13 lot 19.
Yeah.
And what did I get wrong?
You had said R17.
Oh, I
Yeah,
read
lot
it.
31B.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Had to clear that one. All right, so we are denying this intent to cut because there are back taxes owed. So this letter is to inform that a bond will be required before they request the intent to cut on Green Hill Road. The bond amount is for $2,251.56, and the funds would be held by the town treasurer and would be applied after the cut is appraised to the taxes due. The remaining unemployed balance would be returned. Motion to deny.
So we need a motion to deny rather than just not taking action.
Yeah, we have to
Because we
deny
have to
the
deny
intent to
and-
cut, and then we
Okay.
have to,
So we have to answer.
yeah, we have to
Okay.
send him the letter.
Yeah.
He has to give us a bond for him to do the cut. So once we receive the bond, then you'll get that form back and you can sign it.
Well, I'll make a motion that we deny the intent to cut and send the letter to the homeowner,
Other
to the
yeah.
property owner.
Yes. I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Just the letter is the only thing that needs to be signed though.
At this point,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, we send him the letter, a copy of the, where we came up with that amount.
Okay.
It's 10% of
The taxes.
the cut.
Oh,
That.
and then this is a report of cut for timber tax bill R17 lot 31B. And there is no bill for the cut, but we still need a motion and signatures. So we still need to make a motion to approve the timber tax bill for R17 lot 31B.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Are we signing anything on this then, Julie? I see it.
Yes.
Got it. By the time it says sign here.
I think there's two sheets, there should
Okay.
be 2 tabs to sign. So one's sticking out on top.
Sign here and sign there. All right, thank you. Okay, the last is that Kevin Donahoe is resigning from the supervisor of the checklist. So the select board would like to extend its sincere gratitude for the many years you have served as a supervisor of the checklist for the town of Jackson. The town has been very fortunate to have residents who are willing to contribute their time in elected roles, and your service has been exemplary. We truly appreciate your dedication and commitment to the Jackson community. Very well said. Yeah, Kevin's been a long-time member of that, and he's still on the Conservation Commission as well.
I'll make a motion that we accept Kevin Donahoe's resignation from the supervisor of the checklist.
I'll second that. All in favor?
All right?
Aye. Bob, any updates on the fire station?
We're a little ahead of schedule on the interior, a little behind on some of the exterior stuff that is still not quite complete, but the inside's got heat. It's all fully enclosed, basically down to painting interior walls at this point. and still snaking a few wires through the walls. And then on the outside, the post and beam, front-facing structure had a post that had more knots in it than we wanted to see, and the lumberyard that provided that post agreed with us, so that post has been replaced. And there was also some holes drilled between the iron connectors that were wrong on another post. So there's been some post swapping that's happened, at no cost to us, but that's kind of what's held that front-facing piece from being completed, and that's all been done now. So that's on the framing team that frames post and beams for Ritchie is on their list. So, and everything else, like I said, the stuff on the interior is progressing quite nicely. All the color selections have been made. I mean, we're really down to, like, you know, seeing cabinets and counters in before long. I mean, we're at the point where we purchased a refrigerator from White Mountain Oil because they had it on sale. So, I mean, really getting to that level of finality with some of that stuff. So it's
Great. Great. Anybody have anything on the town hall? I don't see anyone here, so I'm guessing no news is good news, and I know they're still open on weekends or by appointment only, so that's good. We did hear back from the DOT on the request for some signage on Route 16 north of the town. And it said it was discussed and agreed by the DOT that a sign stating no services next 20 miles is not appropriate for that location. There are, in fact, several locations between Jackson and Gorham where people can find both food and lodging. The only service that is not available is gas, and that is not available in Jackson either. So hopefully there will be some personal remedies that the person can take to help keep people out of their driveway. Any comments, thoughts on that?
Well, that came to us from somebody in town as a recommendation that we look into that, and we did, and I think that we got some reasonable responses on it.
Yeah, agreed. Right. On the 117 North Hampshire Ridge Road short-term rental, their advertisement has been updated, and they're working with Kevin Bennett on their where their beds are placed in their bedrooms, etc. So hopefully everything will smooth out on that. We'll have to visit that again. One building permit, Kevin, out of 165 for the year.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, that's straightforward.
All right. Julie, was this just for the other things? This isn't separate? Okay. All right. Any public comments?
I just would like to thank the select board. I know it's been a very stressful year, and for a job well done, as well as your support staff in the office, and also all of our police department under the direction of Chief Brody. I think he's done a fantastic job this year. Thank you.
Thank you, Huntley. I appreciate that.
Here, here.
Thank you. Penny?
I was just curious, the highway department, are there set dates that the changeover happens between state responsibility and town responsibility in the fall and in the spring? And also, in the wintertime, is the town responsible for clearing culverts, you know, when trees fall and they end up in the drainage ditches or culverts? Is the town responsible for that? You mentioned plowing and sanding.
I don't know if there's actually any set dates, because it's kind of by Mother Nature. When she shows up, we show up. When she stops, we stop. As far as weather events. Culverts, no. The state still maintains the sides of the roads, we just maintain the road. So we plow, sand, and if a tree crosses the road, either myself, my crew, or the state will get to it, whoever gets notified first.
Okay.
We kind of share responsibilities as far as that goes. The culverts are still their responsibility.
Okay, so in the winter time, so in the winter time, the state should be, if there's a tree in a drainage ditch or debris after a rain event, the state should be coming and cleaning those out.
Notify the state.
Good
If
to
they're
know.
busy, they'll probably hand it to me, or ask me for help.
Okay.
That's usually how it's worked.
Yeah, that's
Or
good.
we get to it first.
All right, that's great to know.
Yeah, well,
Thanks for that question. It's always good to know the answer to those, not just today, but, you know, meeting minutes and things, so you know who to call if anything like that happens, so. Any other public comments? Eric?
Hi. I'd just like to say, right, as the president and general manager on a couple metrics, which is the largest business in town, that the current schedule and not having anything around the special event piece until potentially the 31st in our busiest time of the year is not the way, in my opinion, to drive this forward. So I would love to see some more transparency in that process. I'd love to see a draft of what the select board may be looking to vote for on the 6th or vote about on the 6th, because there's a lot of details that just haven't been presented. And I share Julie's concern on the timing and getting that out and meeting the 7-day piece, and would love to see that, so.
Thank you. All right, any other public comments? Meetings coming up. December 30th, which is next week, we have our Bartlett Jackson Ambulance Budget Meeting at the Bartlett Town Hall at 5:15. If anyone wants to join us on that. They do an amazing job. We have an amazing service with our folks that are that drive the ambulance and take care of all of us folks in Bartlett and Jackson, and at the hospital as well. So if anyone wants to come to that meeting, 5:15 at the Bartlett Town Hall. Next meeting is January 6th. We'll have a regular select board meeting, and we will have a 4 p.m. town ordinance public hearing immediately following that. That's at the town hall here. Tuesday, January 20th is our regular select board meeting and our first budget hearing. Please come to that. I would rather have you come to that than town meeting, honestly, because that's when we really talk about important things like the budget. We will get our budget templates and draft out as soon as we can prior to that meeting, so you guys can have a look at it before the meeting. And then the second meeting on February 3rd, 3:30 regular select board meeting, 4 o'clock is budget hearing number 2, where we will also review the petitioned warrant articles that are due by that date. So those are all of our new upcoming meetings, and of course, mark your calendars, folks. We have Election Day on March 10th, and March 12th is our town meeting at 7 o'clock at the Whitney Center. So make your reservations now. Anything else, Bob?
Do we know when that filing for office window opens and closes?
Yes, it's January 21st through the 30th.
Thank you.
And Karen puts that out with the dates and posts a public notice on that as well?
She will, yes,
Yeah.
and it's usually in the paper too, about what,
And then, yeah, there's also, Bob, I can forward you, and Julie forwarded also the 2026 town meeting calendar important dates notice, so that.
that's on the website as well.
Yeah, so I can send that off to you if you want as well.
Oh, can I make one comment
Of
about
course.
petition warrant articles? There's a new law that states if whoever hands in the petition warrant article, if they can't be there at town meeting, they have to designate someone. So I thought of you because I know that you're not usually here at town meeting, so if you could just designate someone to be there at town meeting.
We just talk to the office.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thanks everyone for coming. It is 5:08. I will make a motion to adjourn.
Second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.